Welcome to This Explainer. Today, we're doing something I absolutely love, a little historical translation exercise. We're taking the legendary 7th century governance of Umar ibn al-Khattab, and honestly, we're decoding it for the modern boardroom. So whether you're building a startup, running a massive corporate team, or just managing a few folks, these ancient ethical frameworks literally hold the exact blueprints we need right now. Look at how he's remembered, even centuries later. This contemporary poetic tribute calls him a rahbar, which means a guide and a fearless leader. And that right there is the crux of it. It's this exact legacy of fearless, rock-solid ethical management that cemented his historical importance. He wasn't just pushing papers, he was a real-deal guide who set the ultimate benchmark for integrity. So, how do you pull this off? Here's our agenda for today. We're going to deconstruct his model pillar by pillar. Justice as the foundation, absolute accountability, people-centered empathy, visionary strategy, and finally, what this means for the modern ethical leader. Let's get into it.
All right, pillar number 1, justice as the foundation.
At the absolute core of his administration is this concept of adl. Now, for Omar, justice was never just some theoretical feel-good ideal. It was a strict, universal principle applied to everyone, literally everyone, regardless of social status, ethnicity, or religion. It gave him total objectivity. And here's the kicker. It ensured the ruler himself was bound by the exact same law. And you can see how this historical policy translates so seamlessly into what we do today. Take the Pact of Umar. It guaranteed the properties and religious freedoms of non-Muslims in Jerusalem. When you map that onto the modern era, it perfectly mirrors how top organizations strive to build equitable, inclusive cultures. I mean, it was basically a 7th century mandate for diversity, equity, and inclusion. He didn't just talk the talk, though. He held his highest-ranking executives strictly accountable. For example, when Amr ibn al-As, the incredibly powerful governor of Egypt, and his son were accused of wrongdoing by a regular, everyday citizen, Omar didn't just sweep it under the rug to save face. He conducted a full investigation and punished them publicly. The precedent was crystal clear. Absolutely no rank is above the law.
Moving right along to pillar number 2, absolute accountability and transparency.
The level of transparency expected back then was just staggering. Picture this. During a public address, a regular citizen just stands up and challenges the leader. He straight up asks how Umar got enough fabric for his long robe when the public distribution was a much smaller cut. Can you even imagine a modern CEO being publicly interrupted and grilled on their personal perks by an entry-level employee? So what does he do? Instead of shutting the guy down, getting defensive, or having security walk him out, how do you think Umar handled this intense public confrontation?
He gave an immediate, humble, and completely transparent explanation. He openly explained that his son had given him his own allocated portion of the fabric so the robe could be finished. That's it. By not taking offense and just giving the facts, he actually strengthened public trust. He proved that public oversight isn't a threat. It's a superpower for healthy leadership.
And this culture of transparency, it extended right into strict financial compliance. He kept massive, detailed records of his governor's assets. When Governor Sa'd ibn Abi Waqqas accumulated wealth that looked, well, a little out of proportion to his actual income, Umar dismissed him. It was a zero-tolerance policy for unethical behavior, which is the exact historical precedent for the independent financial audits and anti-corruption laws we rely on today. Plus, he never ever led in an echo chamber. He institutionalized shura, which basically means consultation. He'd regularly seek counsel from a diverse group of representatives before making any big state decisions. Shifting away from unilateral power and tapping into collective wisdom, that is the ultimate blueprint for modern collaborative management.
All right, on to pillar number 3, people-centered empathy. Umar literally institutionalized empathy by establishing the Bait al-Mal, a centralized public treasury. But it wasn't just a vault for hoarding state wealth. It functioned as a real social security net, providing direct stipends to widows, orphans, the elderly, and the impoverished. He made sure the organization's resources actively supported its most vulnerable people. He was also incredibly hands-on. Umar would famously disguise himself and do night patrols through the streets just to observe the real living conditions of his people. If you know modern management theory, you know this is exactly what we call a Gemba walk, when a leader actually leaves the cushy boardroom and hits the work floor to see the real, everyday challenges of their frontline team.
His empathy was fueled by this staggering sense of duty. He famously said, "If a mule stumbles in a rack, I fear Allah will ask me, 'Why did you not pave the road for it?'" Just think about that. He felt personally accountable for a minor operational failure thousands of miles away in his empire. That right there, that is extreme ownership.
This brings us to pillar number 4, visionary strategic planning.
Now, as the state expanded at breakneck speed, Umar knew he absolutely couldn't micromanage it all. So what did he do? He built highly structured, decentralized systems. He divided the empire into provinces with fully accountable governors, set up an independent judiciary of impartial judges, and launched a massive record-keeping registry called the Diwan, alongside standardizing the Islamic Hijri calendar. He was building systems designed to outlast him. He also poured investments into sustainable infrastructure. We're talking roads, bridges, and massive agricultural projects like the Mughal Canal in Basra. He even built rest houses for traveling merchants. He completely understood that true strategic vision is about planning for long-term economic prosperity, not just chasing quick, short-term wins.
Okay, let's wrap this all up in our final section, the modern ethical leader.
This breakdown perfectly maps his historical governance onto modern NBA-style frameworks. The public treasury, that's transparent resource allocation. His consultation practice, those are your inclusive decision-making town halls. The provincial system is the very definition of decentralized administration. And those independent judges, that's your foundational blueprint for unbiased HR departments and ombudsman offices.
So the actual applications for today's leaders are remarkably clear. By actively encouraging public oversight, demanding strict financial transparency, prioritizing the actual welfare of your people, and maintaining personal humility, you build an incredibly resilient and ethical organizational culture. It's all about serving the team rather than expecting the team to serve you. And the ultimate test of that humility happened during a devastating famine. Umar completely stopped eating meat or any delicacies. He chose to consume nothing but simple bread and oil, sharing the exact same physical hardship as his people until the crisis finally passed. He refused to insulate himself from the pain of his organization. Which brings us to our ultimate takeaway. Umar ibn al-Khattab governed over a millennium ago, yet his ethical frameworks are absolutely a gold standard today. So I'm going to leave you with this final provocative thought. If your leadership was scrutinized centuries from now, would it reflect a pursuit of privilege or a profound sense of responsibility? What is the legacy you're building right now? Thanks for joining me on this explainer, and keep leading with purpose.